is Kurt Blind. I'm a member of the CBLOC consortium, and I'm representing the Fraunhofer Institute ISI, but I'm also a professor for innovation at the TU Berlin. Today, we are quite happy to have with you the webinar on blockchain education and standardization, because it's a really kind of a challenging and a future for the future very relevant topic. And for this webinar, we got very kind of important and distinguished speakers. These are on this slide. Unfortunately, due to sickness, two people who cannot join. Therefore, we are a little bit more easy with the presentations of today. We have Serena Delagli. She's from Digital SME and representing the other kind of sister project, Blockstand. We have Stefan Schwarm from Digital Identity and Trust at MSG. We have from Etsy, Raymond Robes. We have Stefan Caporali from the Caporali Conseil, a member of the Senelec standardization activity. And finally, but very important, is Raimundas Matilevicius. He is professor in Finland, but he is also representing the very big CHASE project, which is on education about blockchain. That means these are the list of speakers, but you will see them later in a minute. I go on. This is a little bit of a complicated slide. This is kind of CBLOC in a nutshell. Overall, what is our mission? Our mission is really to push and support the European interests within the blockchain, to distributed ledger technology standardization activities worldwide. That means we want to support the EU experts. We want also to liaison with the already existing kind of activities related to blockchain. We want to get all stakeholder groups engaged within the EU, which are responsible also to bring them to the international stage. And finally, we have the interest to get the European values towards the international level. There are different kind of tools. We contribute to standards. There is also kind of funding available. We'll see that, show that in a minute. We have reports and other materials. We have kind of the objective to create a bigger community, and this event is part of this. Therefore, it's one of the 12 webinars which are in the outreach kind of box. Overall, we have technical working groups. We have these events like this. We have a strategic board. We have a permanent task force where we are linked with the already existing kind of institutions in the blockchain, but also in the standardization in the IT area. And we have a pool of evaluators, and that's the mechanism of CBLOCs. Just to make a little bit promotion for the funding opportunities. That means you can apply now for bringing up your ideas, which is supported by up to 10,000 euros. And here we invite blockchain professionals which have expertise and also maybe even expertise in standardization to represent and develop kind of European ideas in a kind of short, medium, and long-term perspective. But this you find under this kind of page where you can apply for this funding, and it's 2 weeks more or less time to submit your applications. And if you are first, then there is a good chance that you are getting funding. We have already different evaluators from numerous countries. also with 70% a higher share of female than we have in general in standardization. Normally it's about 10%. We have a quite nice country coverage with some kind of focus on Italy, and the SEOs are also quite nicely kind of covered by these evaluators, which will then kind of evaluate your proposals. Regarding the webinar, some kind of instructions how to behave here. First, as you have already seen, it's going to record it and will also be available later. Then we really encourage to have this as a kind of an interactive event. That means please use the Q&A box to come up with your questions, but you can also use the chat to ask questions and maybe also provide ideas and links which might be interesting for us. What's the background here? The bigger background is that indeed blockchain standardization is higher on the agenda, because both in the EU strategy released in 22, but also in the 23 in May 23 released US standardization strategy, blockchain standardization is one of the in the US key technologies which they focus on. We are seeing different activities in different organizations, also in not only a complementary way, but also in a competitive one. Therefore, that's an interesting aspect. And the challenge is to represent the EU interest and especially the EU values in an adequate way, because there are other players, and also in the context of the current geopolitical kind of games and tensions, this is an issue. But the other point is that skilled people are aware, therefore education and training about standardization in the field is an issue. There's education material available on kind of standardization in general, ICT standardization also. In particular, for example, by ETSI, there are also other initiatives. A new project on education will be kicked off early 24, the EU project. Therefore, what is the way forward? We try to identify the gaps, especially then also in the discussion. And we try to close the gaps by a visualization tool, but also by kind of producing some additional material. Standards have very kind of generic aspects. They provide information, they reduce variety, they assure maybe minimum quality, and very important here in this context is that they generate compatibility. They can also even kind of be seen as an insurance function. These are the generic functions which are be maybe as a guidance provided as background information. And you see also here they have positive and there are also maybe critical aspects where standards can be misused, especially related to innovation, and blockchain is still in an emerging phase. And also along the kind of research and innovation kind of cycle, there are different kind of phases. At the beginning, you talk about terminology, about definitions. That means there's more about semantic, and then it's about measurement and testing, and then we have interface standards and compatibility and value reduction, variety reduction standards in the focus. And just as an example, because my colleague Simone Wuster, who is also part of the team, was involved in such an early activity here in Germany to come up with a terminology for blockchain. In parallel, later, briefly, this was released in 2017. ISO also took this topic on board, and now the ISO definition is the one. But you see, this was early in the field, and that's. I hope in 10 minutes was the brief intro from my side. And now I hand over to the next speaker from Blockchain, Sevilla.
Thank you very much, Nat. I will share my presentation. So hope you can see the presentation now.
Yes.
Great. So I will start introducing a bit European Digital SME Alliance, what we do. I should first introduce myself. I'm Serena Delalli. I'm a senior technology manager at European Digital SME Alliance, working mainly on technology projects and on standardization topic. I will start introducing what we do as a European Digital SME Alliance, which is an alliance which represents more than 45,000 SME working in the ICT sector. Our members are representing about 30 national regional associations coming from all Europe, so the European Union member states and neighborhood countries. We have a number of active working groups and focus group working on different topics. I will present them briefly in a while. So we cover a wide range of topics, of course, related to the work of our members, so the ICT sector. We are also directly involved in many European funded projects, and we are running other project proposals, always mostly funded by the European Union. And we have a very active community of experts involved in our working groups and in many technical committees, also in different international organizations and standard development organizations. I will briefly introduce the working groups and the focus groups, which are working specifically on the subject of our webinar today, which are the working group skills and the working group standards. These working groups focus mainly, the first one is focused on helping our members, so the SMEs, in advancing with their upskilling and reskilling activities to be in line with the new requirements of the labor market and to keep on staying in the digital market. And there is also the working group on standards, which is a quite active working group, working mainly on standards, and the main objective is to increase the awareness among our SMEs on the importance of standards and helping them in actually implementing those standards in their process. I'm going to present some concrete projects which are in our activities. So we are directly involved in the high-level forum on standardization, HLF, which was which is a body established by the European Commission this year, following the communication on the EU strategy on standardization, which was released last year, in 2022, which highlighted the need for education and skills on standardization. So the attention on this topic is increasing, actually, as Nat said before. And the establishment of this body was a direct consequence. In the IHLF, there are different work streams active on different topics, which gather actually different stakeholders coming from the public and the private sector. And which will be directly involved and in commitments, concrete commitments, in order to promote concrete actions. One of the work stream is the education and skills work stream. And digital SME is also active in this work stream. Soon, the participants, all the stakeholders, will be called to engage in concrete actions through pledges. So also digital SME will be directly involved in the implementation of these concrete actions. Another activity which is currently ongoing is the Digital Large Scale Skills Partnership, LSP, which is an initiative under the Pact for Skills, so directly linked to the Year for Skills of the European Commission. Currently, the Digital SP brings together more than 100 stakeholders coming from across Europe, committed, especially committed in concrete action to up and reskill the European workforce as required by the labor market. Digital SME is one of the coordinator of this big initiative, and which is still open to single entities and umbrella organizations, alliances, and local partnerships. So everyone following these categories can apply and join this big partnership. Then, as Gnat introduced before, I will briefly talk about Blockchain project, which is a project launched this year and led by a consortium of 4 partners. So Digital SME Alliance is the coordinator. Then we have INATBA, SDS, and Uninfo. And we are all partners with an extensive experience on blockchain standardization. The project, which is an European Union funded project, aims at creating and increasing a community and European leadership in global blockchain standardization. Which aims at ensuring that the international use blockchain standards reflect actually the European values and needs. How do we do this? We have published an open call for a selection of experts, which is open until February 2025. Which aim to engage with 40 experts in blockchain and DLT standardization. So, as I said, the aim is to create a blockchain community that will exchange experiences, ideas, feedback also after the project. When the project is closed, it's very important for us to keep this community alive and to keep the dialogue between stakeholders alive. Here I have some concrete info about the call for experts. So as I said, it was launched in August 2023 and experts can submit their application until mid-February 2025. Here there is the link to apply. Every 2 months we have cutoff dates. So in order to know about the outcome of your application, you don't have to wait until February 2025. So we will reach out with feedback and with the outcome. Experts can submit their application for short or long-term deliverables, which have many, which can be like different kind of deliverables to engage. For example, you can engage in concrete actions, promote the study and the discussion in different SDOs about standards, also drafting guidelines, promoting activities, engagement activities. So I really encourage you to visit our webpage and to apply. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Serena, for giving us an insight in digital SME and also the blogs. We move on with Steffen, Steffen Schwan. Next speaker. Okay, then the floor is yours, Steffen.
Okay. Yeah, then thanks a lot for the possibility to start a bit with the more technical sessions. I will just speak about trusted transaction in electronic ledger overview and international standardization, just as a starting point. The colleagues afterwards will go a bit deeper from 10 and ETSI perspective. At first, something about the DRT within the IDAS 2. As you could see yesterday, a consensus was reached in the trilogue, so you will go on with the IDAS 2 and the well-known Section 11 remain in the IDAS 2 concerning DRT, and then a bit an overview on project and standardization. If we speak about DRT within the IDAS 2, we will have it in nearly every part of the IDAS ecosystem. This picture is a bit abstract from the architecture reference framework. So this means you may use DRT as the infrastructure for the EU digital wallet. So one example is the large-scale pilot DC4U, which is based on EPSI, where a wallet will be developed using EPSI as a decentralized PKI. In this case, the DRT will also be used by the relying party just to check the EU digital wallet, especially, for example, the qualified attestation of attributes, or in the SSI language, we would call it verifiable credentials. So, for example, your driver license or your e-receipt. So that means also for attestations, DRT may be used as the infrastructure, the same for the signature. But EIDAS also introduce a QTSP or Qualified Trust Service Provider on electronic ledger. What we should keep in mind in this case is that those QTSP for electronic ledger focus on use cases which are not covered by the other components. So if you speak about a wallet, if you speak about attestations, if you speak about signatures, this is covered by those components and certified by a CAP while certifying an EU digital wallet or conformity assessment for another trust service, but yes, we have a new trust service on electronic ledger, so just for digital product passes, for tokenization, etc. So I think Europe is one of the first economies in the world just regulating distributed ledger. So, but this also means that we integrate electronic ledger into the EIDAS trust framework, which means that any QTSP providing electronic ledger has to be certified or going to a conformity assessment by a conformity assessment body, which is supervised by an accreditation authority. So, for example, in Germany, it's a DAX, and the CAP is TÜVET, for example, and supervised by a national supervisory body following the standards given by the EIDAS toolbox or by the standardization bodies. But this, yes, for those ones coming from the decentralized ecosystems and decentralization may wonder a bit, yes, it limits decentralization. That's correct, because we depend on trusted third party, in this case, the QTSP or other trusted third parties like a CAP, like an accreditation body. But with this integration in the EIDAS ecosystem, we also enable DRT to be used in regulated environments, as we have somebody who is really liable, like the QTSP, which is fully liable according to Article 13 of EIDAS. So we decrease the risk in utilization of DRT for regulated environments, also because the certification is always based on European standards, and we have proven our security in DRT. So one reason why DRT is seen a bit critical in some member states, like, for example, Germany, might be solved with EIDAS 2. If we go a bit deeper in our current projects, I think we have to mention the ongoing large-scale pilots for the EU Digital Wallet. The four mentioned here, especially DC4U is working on EPSI, and EWC is also working on INDI, and will also work a bit on EPSI. So we have two large-scale pilots which use DRT. We have the ongoing EPSI projects in the Digital Europe program, where we have Vector, which is a bit, you can say, a little sister of DC4U, working on diploma and social security pass, also high regulated cases. And we have Trace4U, and like the name promises, Trace4U focus on supply chain, so digital product pass subjects, also digital rights subjects, tokenization, etc. So means we have the regulation, but we also have ongoing project practical utilization and implementation of use case, and just to give an information to Toolbox, but also to the standardization and close collaboration board, how we should adjust or further develop the standards to be fully usable for DRT, especially that those standards, you remember the picture of before, may be the basement for the certification by conformity assessment bodies for the QTSP for electronic ledger. So long story short, Europe didn't only provide a regulation, but also provide projects just to test the regulation, you can say, and just to give input for the standardization to have at the end a coherent framework for the utilization of electronic ledger. What does it mean? So EIDAS 2 can ensure decentralization or decentralized ecosystems using DRT also for high regulated cases where we need trust, where we need to be able to fulfill burden of proof and documentation requirements. So this picture is a bit, if you assess DRT, you will always find, okay, reliability might become a bit difficult to document the transaction using DRT without additional measures. Availability, there are currently no really standard. How do we be able to use DRT in 20 years? Don't know, but for diploma, it might be helpful because we have retention periods for diploma about between 30 and 60 years. Transferability, we have the requirement in several member states that to make authenticity evident, to provide it to a judge and not to say, okay, there's a DLT, just trust me. So there might be additional measures necessary. And yes, we all know the well-known Article 17. So deletion. Yes, it's possible if you know how to do it, but it's nothing which is currently standardized. And the same for the bit for the authenticity. We need something like signatures, etc. But this will be solved with the standardization. So we have the regulation providing QTSPs, which will be certified that they are able to fulfill those requirements, standardization ongoing, focusing on such subject like trusted issuer registry, if you use the DLT for decentralized PKI, subjects like, for example, revocation and revocation not bound on certain formats, but format independent. Crypto stability, like mentioned, we want to prove also in 20 years. Requirements on certification, but also the combination with other QTSPs. So for example, like a signature to make evident that somebody is really responsible for a certain transaction. So with the aim at the end of the day to have a trusted decentralization, we can trust in the system because it's proven, it's provided by a trusted third party, which is liable. If we have the long-term provability and we have verifiable security. But yeah, some action is needed, but the projects are going on until 2025. So for the audience, this the Mensch Digital Euro programs are a bit sister projects of the C block. It was only another call, but going in parallel. Overview on the standards, like Knut mentioned, we have the 22739 defining the worldwide terminology. In ISO, it's the ISO TC307. I just grabbed some examples here, which from my perspective are most relevant, especially from the IDAS perspective. We have the ISO TI 22349 for existing DOT systems for identity management, where you have software and where you have also Alastria, so the different frameworks or networks in this subject. We have a new valid reference architecture for DOT and guidelines for governance. And you can see it's also working on auditing guidelines. Also ISO is going in the direction to have trusted DOT or provable DOT. Also trust anchors for DOT-based identity management. So rules for DITs, you can say in a technical report, coming more from the trustworthiness point of view on DLT, we have to mention the ISO CRB TR 24332, blockchain and DLT in relation to authoritative records management. This is exactly defining requirements on here. Using DLT for records management, we got the final comments this week, so we hope to publish next year this technical report. And if we go to Europe, we also especially have to mention ISO PDL and then the JTC standard TC19 in this subject, and so especially the non-repudiation techniques. I'm pretty sure the colleagues will go a bit deeper in this subject too. So this was from my side. So long story short, EIDAS provides a framework for trust using DLT for trustworthy digital transactions. We are defining the standards in the different standardization bodies in close collaboration with the ongoing Digital Europe programs, and can say great things are coming. And I give the ball back to you, Knut.
Yeah. Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for kind of linking the electronic identity kind of issue with blockchain. You already gave a little bit of an overview of what's going on, and therefore we move on without any ado to Raymond, who is active at Etsy. Raymond, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. The floor is yours.
Can you see my screen? I think
Yes.
I've just pressed the right button. I hope I've... Okay.
Yes.
Set a timer to see how long I speak for. Okay.
But can you activate your camera? Is that possible?
Good question. Yes, I can. Yeah, it's now started. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
I couldn't see the button a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago, but I can now. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I'm Raymond Forbes. I'm chairman of an ISG called ENI, and I'm vice chairman of PDL, which is Permission Distributed Ledgers. So I'm talking here this morning on permission distributed ledgers. Well, yeah, I hope it's morning in your time. It depends what time zone you're on. If I talk too fast, no, complain. Just tell me, because English is my first language, so I could talk quite quickly. So it's just, yeah. So the scope of PDL, ETSI has an ISG PDL. Everybody is entitled to come to ETSI meetings who's here. The ISGs are open to everybody, whether they're ETSI members, which are very easy to register, or whether they are industry participants. They have to sign a form to say that they want to be involved and how they want to be involved. They may have to pay to come to plenaries on a day-by-day basis, yeah, if they are not ETSI members. If they are ETSI members, it's included in your subscription. So what we are trying to do is look at industrial applicability. We're looking at the industrial applicability of standards. So the ISO requirements for standardization are the same as the requirements that ETSI has for standardization. There's no real difference between our ultimate goals in standardization. We're just part of the standardization arena. We're focused on ICT standards in Europe, where we came from a European background. We have a global influence as well, or impact. So the FreeGBP standards that have been made by ETSI have a global world-wide use at the moment. And we hope that will long continue, of course. So the industrial applicability of blockchain standards is manageability in the industry, manageability across different industries that use them, scalability. This is one of the major problems with blockchain has been the lack of scaling. As the data grows and grows and grows, data grows at a constant rate. So that we need a means of archiving old data, the time and energy efficiency, the fairness implications, and the legal implications. The legal implications are things that we may need to work on or bottom out or understand, because the legal implications of blockchain itself, because what you put into it may be immutable. As Stefan has said, there is an immutability characteristic, but the immutability characteristic can also be used to secure data and secure the ledger and blockchain, which can be used for contracts. And I will talk a bit about contracts. The permissioned approach is seeking for multiple sector environments and the telco and beyond. We came from a telco background in ETSI. The ETSI people have ETSI, not EBSI. ETSI came from a telco background. Most of the industrial implications of one-headed solutions, they have a single vendor. They have provided for management of a service within a single telco. But to have a telco solution, we need end-to-end characteristics. We need a distributed organization for the administration or the authority. And we have defeats the purpose of disintermediation. We want intermediation between the different industries. We want intermediation between the different applications. So the industrial focus needs to have accountability, performance predictability, and the ledger automatically provides predictability. It's good at providing predictability, and ledgers may be added to AI to make it more predictable. And of course, AI can be put into the ledgers to make the ledgers more rapid at processing large amounts of data. Specific sector regulations. We need to comply with the regulations in each country and in each region, the European Union being one of the regions. The need for carrier grade services, the need to develop the services just from benchmark or ICT solutions like Microsoft PCs are, to carrier grade solutions, where when I started, we implemented a telephone exchange and we didn't expect to go back to it for 10 years. So we expect the software to keep working for 10 years. Of course, the software may need to be upgraded, but not on a month-by-month basis, but on a year-by-year or 10-year basis. Service level implies we need a predictable service level, which implies a long beyond functioning code, beyond the functional code, to support the release cycle. We need a long release cycle, automation of governance. We need to have governance The governance has to be decided at a national level, I think, or a governmental level. And the governance is something that C-blocks can provide. Governance has multiple flavors. Governance has automation. We need automation between the governance, and we need agreement of the different parts of the governance that feed it into the system. Whether that's governance to make the immutability of the data that's put in reliable, because the data that's, I mean, immutability means is that you can't change the data. Immutability doesn't make the data itself good. It just means the data is reliable. So if you put bad data in, the data is still reliably bad. But that's presumably the governance needs to be applied in such a way as to have predictable data. So if the legal profession uses this kind of data, I was in a call yesterday with was on the legal profession and how the legal profession may use some of this. Identity and security are key factors. So we have open, well-established operational mechanisms. We validate the participation nodes. We reach consensus among participant nodes, and we reach consensus among the participants in the meeting as well. Publish the executable operations. We facilitate the operation of nodes. We communicate the events relative to the node operations. So we're defining the nodes and how the nodes work together. We define the ledger data flows. We verify the execution of smart contracts, and we establish the trust links to the using the above mechanisms. So the data conduits and flows are kind of listed here. Perhaps I may have time to go through these, but I may not have time. There's data processing requirements. The data processing is built on trust. It's built on good governance. It's built on the throughput and security, and built on the intellectual property rights based on the reference architecture and the reference points. The reference points in the architecture, which Stefan has highlighted PDL10 as one of the reference point architectures. So the reference point architecture is a key document. The distributed and federated data management. We have distributed and federated data management. We have non-repudiation mechanisms. So the focus on smart contracts, the smart contract work, there was a very interesting report was produced in the German government was pushing smart contracts. The smart contracts may take over the contracts held by property lawyers across Europe, attorneys across Europe, and ultimately across the world. They may do in the Far East, and they may do in the US as well. The meeting yesterday afternoon was with US lawyers. It was an interesting IEEE meeting I was at. It's quite an interesting discussion. So the lawyers were thinking of using blockchain in their respect, but it may be a bit early for them to actually use it in the real world. So inherent, based on smart contracts, is the immutability, the auto execution, and the transparency. Well-known and reliable open methods for verification, well-established governance practices. The governance needs to be brought in from outside. The governance isn't produced by the ledger. The ledger just the blockchain and the ledger just means that once the governance is applied, it stays reliable. The well-defined data conduits and triggers, redactability. The redactability of the ledger is the way in which you secure the data on the ledger. The interledger operation, the ledger is agnostic to, however, so you could have multiple ledgers which are agnostic to each other, which can interoperate. And that's the reason why we need to develop standards. The joint work between ETSI, TCESI, and CEN-CENELEC, there was hoped to be joint work which the European Commission was funding or putting forward, which was under the Mode 5 cooperation. But I think a week or two ago, the proposal was rewritten. The proposal was to have an STF, which started the work on smart contract standardization. The STF in ETSI STF 655 will go ahead. The proposal for the STF 655 has been redrafted. It's been redrafted because CEN-CENELEC JTC 19 didn't perform in the way we didn't have an open call for experts in the way the European Commission expected. So DG Grow asked ETSI to redraft the work and get on with the ETSI half. They're just saying that the CEN-CENELEC work half may take longer. So one of the issues that Rapelos from the European Commission wanted to discuss was the right to be forgotten, because GDPR clearly has a right to be forgotten. So is data editable? Now, one of the ways that PDL4, which is one of the documents that's going to be put into the STF and going to be put into TCESI and may become a European norm, when it may be re-edited to become a European norm, it's quite likely that the work in smart contracts based on PDL 004 and PDL 011 will be the basis of the work that they will work on in this smart contracts work. So if they can build a sidechain, the sidechains can be cut off and can be removed, and the new sidechains can be added. So sidechain deployment in this method is the main contract storage. In the sidechain, the sidechain is editable to the master chain. Of course, the master chain itself can just add things to it, but the sidechain can be cut off and the links can be cut and the new sidechains can be added. So you can edit data and you can forget people. So that's the basis of this work. So this is just an extract. This picture is an extract of how the sidechain works, taken from PDL 004, which is the version 111, which is published. All the versions which end in 11 are published. It says 121. Okay, there's many versions which are published. This is figure 5.1.
Yeah. I would like to ask you to maybe wrap up in a minute.
Yeah, because, I will try and wrap up in a minute. Okay. Okay.
We can come back later in the discussion, but maybe I don't know what is the last slide you want to. Yeah, maybe this one.
This slide is good because this focuses on the whole list of documents. The blue ones are ones we're working on. The black ones are ones which are published. So the ones which are published in ETSI are the PDL10 document. Now the PDL11 document is the specification of requirements for smart contracts. The reference architecture PDL12 is the documents that which Stefan mentioned. And the repudiation management and the non-repudiation techniques are also important. And the redactable ledgers is important as well. PDL 19 is important for identity and trust management. That's just been published or just been approved to be published. The PDL, the wireless consensus will be if cars drive along roads, they have to use blockchain, or they have to use the secure method. Blockchain is proposed as a means of proposing data to be secured between the different cars. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We might come back to one of your points later, but I want to give the two remaining speakers also their
of course.
spot.
Yeah, the information will be made available.
Thanks for your elaboration. And now, Stefan Caproli, are you there?
Hello, I am here.
Hi, Stefan. The floor,
hello, everyone.
is yours. Raymond, please stop your
I'll
presentation.
stop.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Raymond, now the floor is yours.
So thank you for being here. I share my screen. Okay, so you see my screen?
Oh, okay. Okay. Now it's
okay. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see my slide?
Yeah. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. So my name is Stefan Caporali. I am an ISO contributor and I am a SFEM European Working Group contributor, and I accepted to present this the relationship between education, blockchain, and standardization. So the idea is to present to you some aspect of my own story in order to understand what was for me, the relation between teaching, standardization, and so you will understand how time passing I go close and close to the world of standardization. So this is my first slide, and I created in 2006 Caporali Conseil, my micro business. It was a consulting and training company. So I am a freelance, and I used to teach in front of students or workers, so different types of persons, and I was not prepared to teach. And I was in front of two different difficulties to make a tutorial and to make a lecture. To give a lecture. To give a lecture, it is when the professor is in front of the students. So you always know this type of situation. And it is difficult to have interactivity with the students for this occasion, but you need rigor. And the rigor, when you give a lecture, it is more important when you don't know where to find this information. And I need at this time information about the technical cycles, and I was very disappointed. And at that time, I discovered that standard existed. At that time, it was in the first time a technical standard, and after industrial standard. And for me, standards allowed me, to have information about the technical cycles and give me the rigor to create a good lecture. And in my mind, standards were boring things. Perhaps it is a common opinion, but I discovered that it can be very clear and very useful, for example, for teachers to use standards. And these were my first experiences. So it was between 2008 and 2010. And so it was a long time, but this was important for me because since that period, I used to speak about my students about standards, and it is a pedagogical element for me. But at that time, in 2010, I was not imagined that one day I will be contributor, and it was circumstances that made that sometimes later, from 2017, I became ISO contributor and Sensenelec contributor. So Sensenelec, it was in the SCFM European Working Group, and it was a very rich and interesting working group with European experts. And today, my work as a contributor helped me in my teaching experiences. And it is a reason why I accepted to talk to you today, because there is a link between teaching and standardization, and the link is obvious for me. And I say a few words about the difficulties to teach blockchain, because blockchain is a disruptive technology, and it is different to teach internet network or telecommunication network than to teach blockchain. And there are three difficulties, in my opinion, regarding blockchain. The difficulty to explain the founding principles. The second difficulty is the cross-disciplinary aspect, and you are all aware of that, I think. And the third difficulty is the hidden complexity, and I like the word hidden because often in the first time when you think about blockchain, it seems simple, but it is not simple at all. And standardization and especially the French national body, where we have a lot of rich conversations, helped me to understand what is really blockchain and the challenge around blockchain. And I I say a few words about the founding principles. It is difficult to speak about the origins of blockchain, and today I have a financial approach, and I took this in my own experience with my micro company, because I am freelance, and I have there is an accounting in my activity, so I have to work with accounting account, and at the end of the year I have an annual statement, and I have a register in my accounting activity, and this helped me to understand the need of computing, a distributed ledger. And so with my students, I explain my own experience with accounting and the need of blockchain, the need of distributed ledger. Concerning the hidden complexity, I think a very important topic is that of consensus mechanism, and especially with ISO, I had the opportunity to express myself during the different ISO session on the subject of consensus mechanism. So it was not easy for me to be in front of a lot of expert professors, and I am just a freelance, but I was fully in what I was doing, and for me, it was a very good experience of work. I teach and I contribute to standardization, and for me, it is important to teach, but it is important to continue standardization, because there is not teaching without standardization. So this is my experience. I have today this opportunity to speak to you about my own experience. So I hope it will be helpful for you. And if you want to apply to C-Block, it is a very good European project. So that's all for my presentation. It is perhaps quick, but thank you very much to give me the time to say what I have to say.
Thank you, Stefan, for sharing your experiences, and in a particular kind of the cross-disciplinarity of standardization, but also maybe the hidden complexity of blockchain is really a challenge, also to bring the topic across to the students or to the audience. And this brings me now to our last speaker, because Raimundas is representing Chase, kind of the education project related to blockchain. And therefore, Raimundas, you have now the floor.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Yes.
And
we
my
see your
slides already?
Yes.
Very good. So
then the floor is yours.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. And let me introduce, first of all, myself a little bit. So I'm Raimundas Matulevičius, and I'm working at the University of Tartu. And Knut, I need to correct you a little bit. Tartu is not in Finland. Tartu is in Estonia. So yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. So but as I was introduced, here I'm representing also the Chase project. The Chase project, which is an Erasmus Plus Sector Skills Allies program, and it is the 4-year program, which basically just recently, within these few weeks, it entered to its final stage, to the 4th year. And the main goals of this project, they include quite multiple aspects, multiple dimensions. And the first one, it is the development of the European blockchain skill strategy. Also, it includes a forecasting mechanism to anticipate the future blockchain skill needs, to find these needs, to incorporate these needs into, see what actually is needed in the market. In this project, we also defined the blockchain specialist occupational profile. And one of the key contributions to the project is the development of the 5-semester blockchain curriculum. And this curriculum is done in 11 different European languages. We also are working on the transnational mobility schemes for the blockchain students and professionals. And also we tend to define an European blockchain ecosystem. So everyone who is interested in joining and seeing what we are doing in the Chase project, you can go into the website and you can become the associate member of our consortium. So please welcome. Also, I'd like to stress that the project is really a large project and involves different actors, different participants there. It includes 23 partners from the 13 countries, and now I see that there is really a huge number of the associated partners with whom we are sharing the results, with whom we can communicate and discuss different aspects. But what I would like to stress out of all these different deliverables, I would like to emphasize you to look into the newly developed program, curricula, or course for mastering blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. So you can just take your phones, you can just do and enroll yourself into this course and to see what we have developed there. So thanks to the previous presenter, who has actually introduced the need of the standards and the need of the guidelines on how to develop teaching courses, and especially who stressed the difficulty on developing the multidisciplinary blockchain courses. And this is exactly what we were experiencing when preparing this course. So our course is based on the explicitly clearly defined learning outcomes, which were engineered, which were developed by the use of the European credit system for the vocational educational training. We also were using CDO4 guidelines and also European qualification framework. Our goal was to base this framework, this course on the EQF level, EQF 5 level 5 of this framework. And so it basically means that we are focusing on the vocational training, but also the course can be rather easily adjusted to the upper levels of this qualification framework. We also are using the Bloom's taxonomy, which really explicitly helps us to define these learning outcomes and to say what learners will know or what they need to know after taking the different modules of this course. So let's go a little bit, let's check on what is the structure of this course. So basically the course is, as mentioned previously, or the curricula as mentioned previously, it is really a 5-semester course, a 5-semester, 2.5-year period educational program. And it includes, if we take it, from beginning to the end, it includes 120 ECVET credits. And actually, it covers 1,200 teaching hours with addition of 480 practice hours. As you can see from here, it has the 12 different modules. In total, it includes 48 lectures. And lecture here consists of the video lecture, on the lecture material, including the lecture slides and the lecture notes. It also has the set of the practical exercises, the use cases suggested to the learners. Also, it includes the number of the self-study materials, such as the questions, answers, self-analysis questions, answers, and it has a number of some of the multiple choice questions. The course also has the certification schema. So basically, after taking the course, after completing completing separate modules of this course, you can apply for the certified attestation, seeing whether you have reached the level of knowledge. Let's go very quickly through the different topics, through the different modules, just to get you the impression on what type of the material is included in this curricula. So it includes the introduction to the blockchain technology, just explaining the main components, the main constituencies on what is in there. It also includes the lectures on the regulations, legal aspects, governance of the blockchain systems. So the goal is to discuss this so that the learners would be aware of regulations and standardization issues within the blockchains. It also provides the fundamentals of the blockchains and the distributed ledger technology. It differentiates between the centralized database, distributed ledger, explains the blockchain characteristics, components, also the main security issues. The curricula also includes the module on the blockchain business management and planning. So the suitability of the business process innovation, discuss fundamentals of the blockchain use cases, use case implementations. It also speaks about the blockchain security and digital identity. It covers both aspects. There are security issues that can be mitigated with the blockchain technology and the security problems which exist in the blockchain technology. It speaks about the different system architectures of the blockchain and also the way of how consensus protocols need to be developed. One module, it also covers the different aspects, the different layers and aspects of the blockchain platforms. Speaks about the node creation, account management, transaction principles. Then we also have the module on marketing and customer support. It demonstrates the marketing customer support principles of the blockchain technology. Of course, blockchain without crypto is not like imaginable. So we have the module on how to apply the major digital signature schemas, cryptographic protocols, tools for protecting the blockchain-based applications. Another issue, hot issue in the learning about the blockchain is the principles of the smart contract development. So it employs the programming languages to develop smart contracts to understand what are the principles of the digital currency. The next part comes also on developing the actual blockchain applications. So ranging from the blockchain use cases, from developing the use case from the idea to the actual service which can be provided. It speaks about the heuristics, reaching the customer needs, managing the products, services of the blockchain applications. Last but not least, we have the module on the game theory in the blockchain. So different different economical models on how the blockchain technology can be applied, how can it be used. So to summarize, you can already observe that basically this curricula, it covers the blockchain principles starting from basically zero, going to the more advanced topics, including the applied cryptography, developing of the smart contracts, developing the blockchain systems from the idea to the services, and also using the blockchain system for the different marketing and economical problems. Also, I need to stress that this curricula is not dedicated to a single blockchain specialist profile, but it separates between the three different profiles. While taking this curricula, the learners can choose whether they would like to concentrate and to develop their skills on the blockchain manager, whether they wish to develop their skills on the blockchain architect, or they would like to become the blockchain developer. So we take into account the three different profiles of the blockchain specialist. And this, what it comes as a short overview of what is Chase and what is currently the main outcome of the Chase project. No, back to you.
Thank you, Raimundas, and sorry for mixing up too. But very nice overview of Chase and the very comprehensive kind of curricula which you have developed. And now a little bit the intention is now to bring together the blockchain standardization, what you did, and I really kind of motivate the audience, which is also quite active in the chat, with coming up with question. But to warm up with the question, we prepared some, and therefore I'm sharing my screen. Means here we have some questions for the final discussion until noon. there are some more technical questions. I think there were two of them, which were brought up by, I think, Steffen and Raimund. You want to start with elaborating these before we move on more to the education part, which in a second. Who wants to start from the panelists?
Yeah, so as I think bring up the first question, may I start? How can Europe ensure trustworthy decentralization with DLT without losing the core properties? So if you say the core one or main core properties, please Raymond add or correct me if I'm wrong in your opinion, is the immutability of DLT as well as the decentralized character of DLT. So what DLT
Stefan, your
my
presentation was very dovetailed with what I said as well, I think, from my perspective anyway. Yeah. So
yes.
thank you.
So long story short, like mentioned in my presentation, we can ensure trustworthy decentralization, or we will ensure with this QTSP for electronic ledger, because in this case we have a dedicated provider. As you speak in this case about permissioned DLT, but we have a dedicated provider which is certified by a trusted third party, by the conformity assessment body, and supervised for the security and trust that it follows the security standards. And I have a authority which is fully liable in this case. And so we delete some of the most, I think, from our perspective, or experience most important concerns against DLT. So no standardized security, no standardized interfaces, no trust, and nobody who's liable. This subject we just solve. It will be still decentralized, as you can see in the EPSI. It's decentralized. Also, the nodes are provided by the member states. What we may discuss is about the immutability in case of deletion, but this is something, how much immutability do we need, and how much immutability do we want?
Jonas?
Okay, I see the question. Is the chain is governed well? Can we use the guarantee secure? Can it use to guarantee security of the data? My position here is absolutely not. There is no such thing as 100% security. Yes, we can mitigate on the different risks. Yes, we can mitigate, as much as possible to cover it. But we are not living in the fixed world. We are developing. The chain is developing. The systems are developing. And by the way, the threat agents, they are also developing themselves. And they will find the issue on accesses if they try well enough.
Okay.
Yes, I fully agree. But for this, we won't get unemployed in the standardization body. So we have to develop it further and further and further. And there is no 100% security. We can only reach the 90% or the 95%. So we can decrease the rest if that it's not maybe 80% risk, but maybe hopefully only 10 or 5% risk.
And by the way, 5% of reducing the risk is a huge number. It's a huge effort to do that. I totally agree with you that standards, regulations, they are absolutely needed because it gives you the direction on how to make systems better.
Thank you. I have a question in the Q&A section. Now, is the author willing to read that out loud and show, or should I? From the Geneva Macro Labs. Yeah, the floor is yours. You can speak.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I think maybe Rita, a colleague of mine, could
Okay,
give the possibility to this member of the audience to talk, the Geneva Macro Labs.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So the immutability is of course a very important issue regarding diplomas like long-term revocable credentials. We have the issue that they remain valid even when the university does no longer exist. So when you have revocation lists hosted by the university itself, it means that the value of a diploma will be lost because you don't know anymore if it has been revoked or not. So we need to have some mechanism to make the revocation list immutable in order to retain the value of the diplomas. And I did my PhD on this topic, and I think there is a valid reason to make the revocation immutable because of this issue. And because of diplomas having an existence of validity basically lifelong, and you need to be able to verify a diploma when it is presented to you. There's no legitimacy for people that the diploma has not been presented to validate the validity of a diploma, but for those whom it is being presented, they have a legitimate reason to know whether it has been revoked or not, even when the institution is no longer around. And for those diploma holders, those credential holders, I think it is also very important that they have the proof that their diploma has not been revoked, even when the university is no longer around. And diplomas can be revoked. So we need to have this kind of revocation mechanism that needs to be independent from the issuing institution.
It's because I just find the answer in the text, but you was faster to mention the question. The issue which you may have with the DRT is the DRT is based on hashes. So we have the hash protection, which is hashing father of son principle. So block 2 hash block 1, block 3 hash block 2, etc., etc. What we don't have in DRT is something like a rehashing. So as an archivist, I can wait for 10 years or 15 years. 15 years ago, we had a good old MD5 values, which are now recalculable by any student in the second semester. So this means if I know the hash algorithm, I can change subject without any notice because I know the algorithm. This is the subject. So your DRT is not immutable anymore. And the other subject is that we don't have a proof of existence in the DRT with a timestamp from external. This means your immutability will disappear over time. This is the issue why we need something for rehashing and proof of existence in the DRT. So this can be done by adding a preservation service according to IIDAS to the DRT, where you put a timestamp on the hash tree and you just rehash a bit this DRT. This is one subject. The other possibility, because you don't know if your DRT is there in 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. So in Germany, we have retention periods 30 up to 60 years for diplomas. Our recommendation is a bit handle it like a classical PKI. In this case, you will get the revocation information from the PKI, you will get any certificate information, you prove the signature, you put everything, we call it a container currently, over the container, you calculate the hash tree, you put a timestamp on it, and then you only depend on this timestamp and you don't depend on the PKI anymore. This is something which is solved in ETCTS 119, 511, 512. The preservation services according to IIDAS, and in the EPSI projects, we work on a solution for this mentioned rehashing project in EPSI. I think I have enough time in the webinar to put you a link to some papers on this subject in the Q&A session, but you're very welcome to go deeper in this subject after the meeting, because it's something I work on. It's one of my main subjects where I'm working on.
Thank you. I see the rehashing issue, of course, with quantum technology advancing. We have to address it, and it is very likely that in a time frame of 30 to 60 years, something will happen. So I agree with that. But I think this is independent from the question regarding the scope of the right to be forgotten and the right to be remembered. Concerning diploma holders that have a right that their non-revocation will be remembered is, I think, a different issue.
Yeah, it's a question. It's a question.
It's a question, yeah.
It depends.
Very good question.
Because it depends.
They're directly conflicting requirements. That's the concern. But yeah, if you can fulfill both requirements, then the hashing may give you a way of doing it. But the fact you could rebuild a chain, but it's not, it becomes complicated to understand. You have similar problems if it's used for land registries and the ownership of property, because the ownership of property, the property could be destroyed, the property could be handed on. In general, you don't want to change who owned the property 200 years ago, because that's interesting historical information. But how you build that information up and how you archive information that's historic is a complicated issue.
Yeah, the other subject is you might have also burden of proof. So you might have to make evident that this diploma was valid at a certain time and it was revoked due to certain subjects.
Precisely.
And so to be honest, burden of proof and documentation requirement is always more important than the right to be forgotten, because if you delete and the university is not able to fulfill a burden of proof anymore, sorry, but that's not possible in the GDPR.
I many thanks for this interaction here, but I'd like to use the last 10 minutes to come back a little bit to the other topic on education. And I don't know, Raimundas, could you maybe share a little bit the experience with the great offer you developed so far regarding blockchain education in general?
Actually, I'd like to speak a bit about the skills which are needed once once organizations are looking for the blockchain specialist. And actually, this is also the result of the Chase project, because one of our goals there is to establish the kind of the continuous understanding on what is a model for the continuous understanding what is the needs for the blockchain specialist and what they need to know. And therefore, one of the reasons was also to separate the blockchain specialist profile into like 3 different profiles, 3 different viewpoints, like the blockchain developer, blockchain analyst, blockchain manager. But what is important thing here is that all these 3 different profiles, they need to have a certain types of the skills, including the technical skills on the blockchain. They need to know what are the fundamentals, technical principles, social and economical implication of the blockchain technology, what are the design solutions of the blockchain applications, also what is math, statistics, protocol engineering. Also, they need to know what is the coding, cryptographical principles. And another type of the skills, it comes with the need of seeing actually the business side of the blockchain. So the business needs, business analytics, business development, the use cases, product management. Last but not least type of the skills, they should also include the transversal skills, including they need to be able to learn. They need to have the metacognitive understanding, metacognitive skills, self-efficacy, self-confidence. They need to be able to work autonomy. Have to be able to work self-independently, organizational skills, and things like that. So basically, once we try to define the single, let's say, profile for this, we need to have the combination of all these three different skill aspects: technical aspect, business aspect, transversal skill aspect. And then, okay, depending then on the profile itself, it might be like the different variation. One skills are emphasized more, let's say, for the manager. Other skills might be, let's say, technical skills can be more emphasized for the skill developer.
Thank you. But in your kind of material, I really went through all of them, but I couldn't find any dedicated kind of section on the role of standards.
Sorry, on what?
On the role of standards on blockchain standardization. This topic was not really covered in the whole kind of set of material curricula you made available.
Maybe it was not defined on the standardization itself, but it was there is the module on the regulations on the local basis on this part, which is, well, it's not the standardization per se, but it gives the implication on understanding it.
I think that's the gap we have to close, and therefore also to the audience, if there is material teaching material in particular addressing blockchain standardization, please let me know. I talk to all big organizations, but there is not really material yet. Therefore, I think we have a good job to do, and there will be also follow-up kind of webinars, which will become then a little bit more focused on this topic. But I think so far we got a broad overview on what's going on in different kind of organizations, European, international ones, but we also see a little bit what is going on and what are the challenges regarding blockchain education in general, and also then in particular related to the even more complicated animal of standardization, and therefore I think it was a nice kickoff, but I've already ideas on follow-up topics also, because some of the speakers were not available today, which have maybe also a little bit a different angle to the topic. Therefore, we were going to continue. Francesco, I'm not sure. I think I will go back and show you this opportunity. No, where's the funding opportunity? It means here, because in the chat there were some discussions about ideas and funding ideas and opportunities. Please see here the deadline, November 27th, to apply for maybe some support which you need in order to really kind of represent European interests and values at the in particular global international standardization landscape. Yeah, and that's I think since we are approaching noon quite soon, and probably you are getting hungry and maybe ready for the weekend, then I want to close. Francesco, anything to add from the coordinator?
No, I think your wrap-up remarks have been totally fine. I would have closed down by showcasing this slide and a coming deadline that we have on the 27th of November. I have to say that I already had plenty, multiple private interaction in the chat as well, with people willing or at least almost willing to apply. I've also dropped my personal email. You can reach me out anytime for any the FAQ on the website are pretty self-explanatory, but you can reach me out, or my colleagues Rita, John, and Gabriela as well, and Knut too, of course, if you need any clarification or shed some lights on the application form that is pretty straightforward. So seize this chance, grab this chance. It's really valuable. And so I would like to thank you all of the speakers. Your insights, your presentation have been really remarkable, pretty engaging and driving event, I have to say. We will have more and more in next year. So again, apply by the 27th. Have a great weekend. And I'll also like to say the final note that because many of you asked about this, that both of the presentations of the speakers and the live recording will be available, well, if not today, by Monday for sure. So it's all on our side, I would say. Really warmly thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for joining, thanks for contributing, thanks for discussing, thanks for asking. And now we conclude and hope to see you then next year with the next webinar. And if you have topics also which you want to be addressed maybe in the next round, please let us know. Yeah, that's I think also very welcome, because I think we are here, as I said, only at the very beginning, and there are still kind of gaps we have to fill. And because the shortage of skilled people in general is an issue, but in standardization it's even a hotter topic, and therefore we can make a great contributions. And therefore, Raimundas, we stay in contact. I think there are some synergies we can exploit for both projects. Yeah, thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Francesco, you want to